Bjorn Turunn here, editor of the Turunn Tribune. And I'm here in the Turunn studios in Oslo for our first podcast recording. This is the Turunn Tribune in digest. This is a digest of what's in the Tribune. And I'm here with our Chinese intern, Wei Hong. At least, I think she's an intern. She arrived very, very mysteriously and seems to have a lead coming out of her ear, but that's probably just normal in China.
What are you talking about?
Actually, Wei, you're not saying I think you're meant to be just controlling the audio. First, we have to do a segment from our sponsors, Scrottfroat jargon. So, Wei, just imagine this. Imagine that you've been out mountaineering and you've climbed some high mountain and it's minus 40 degrees.
Fahrenheit?
It doesn't matter what Fahrenheit or whatever Chinese temperature unit you use. Imagine you're on a mountain, you've just climbed it. Suddenly the weather turns for the worst and you're trapped. You cannot go up, you cannot go down. Your food supplies are running low and you're on the mountain for several nights and eventually your food runs out. And there's you and there's a Sherpa. You know, that's one of the sort of indigenous people that helps you. He carries all the white man stuff up the mountain and then down the mountain again. And then there's your climbing mate, your climbing companion, who's a little overweight, you know, has a sort of tempting, he starts to look tempting, you know, a little bit of fat on him. And there's your dog, okay? So you're running out of food and eventually you have to eat something. So what would you eat? You've got the dog, the climbing mate, you.
Oh my God.
Well, anyway, it's a rhetorical question, Wei Hong, because luckily, Scrottfroats have invented edible adventurer apparel. So you have a pair of Scrottfroats edible gloves on.
Oh my God.
And all you do, you take off the gloves and you start to eat them.
What about my finger?
But we don't need to eat your fingers or anything. So Scrottfroats edible adventurer apparel. Edible gloves that you can use when you're stuck in the worst conditions. And they're made with seasoned caribou intestine stitching. And they're made from the best Swedish smoked moose hide. Wei Hong is not funny. This is the sponsor's product. Please, no, you don't actually have to just keep operating the desk. So that's the idea, and it's a brilliant idea. And they're coming up with a range of edible tents. So again, if you're stuck in the worst conditions, you can just eat your tent and edible pants. So you just take your pants off and eat them. Pure brilliant, Scrottfroats. So we just wanted to give the shout out to our sponsor.
Hooray!
Yeah, thank you, Scrottfroats, for saving us. And more importantly, saving the Sherpa, or the dog, or the slightly overweight climbing companion, all of whom are not going to get eaten. You don't have to kind of draw straws for who gets the dog. So brilliant invention from Scrottfroats.
Yeah.
In fact, that's not the point. That's just the introductory segment where we talk about the sponsor's product. What I did want to talk about this episode of the In Digest is about threats to democracy, because the mainstream media has been missing some of the biggest threats to democracy. And here at the Tribune,
what is democracy?
Well, that's a good. We don't know actually. Who knows? But the Tribune has been covering some of the bigger threats to democracy, and that's what we were just going to go over in the In Digest series. We were going to start actually with something that's been completely overlooked by most people, except the Tribune, which is the threat to democracy from intelligent machines.
What's that?
Intelligent machines that you have in your home. And the one that is most notable is the dishwasher. We did some reporting on this earlier, and this is what I just want to explore in this episode of the In Digest. Do you remember President Trump's locked and loaded comment when he said he was locked and loaded?
When? I don't. I normally ignore what he said.
Yeah, well, he was threatening Kim Jong-un.
Oh.
He said we were locked and loaded. And that was the key to some of our reporting because, obviously what does locked and load, what do you lock, what do you load and then lock?
It's a weapon
Wei
or
Hong.
dish.
A dishwasher, of course, locked and loaded, that's the obvious thing. Now, which nation makes the most dishwashers in the world is where we started our reporting.
God.
Exactly, Korea, Samsung,
Way.
specifically the storm wash and water wall models that they have, intelligent dishwashers, they have access to chemicals, they have access to our water supplies, and they're in every home. So we really need to be more careful about adoption of this sort of technology.
But South Korea is our friend, right?
There was a film made called Domination of Dishwashers, which was an interesting film. It was about...
They made the film
yeah,
already?
yeah.
Oh my God.
It's sort of reflecting, it's like fiction reflecting reality.
Wow.
Or the other way around, one of the two. Just to give a quick review of the film, it was about an ex-Macy's home service engineer in New Jersey in the United States, Tim Jenkins. And he had a really good reputation for fixing dishwashers, particularly good at fixing no-drain errors. That's code E4 on the storm wash model. It means that the drain has been blocked, and Tim was particularly good at fixing that type of error. Unfortunately, he was laid off. The plot revolves around the evil Korean plot to take over the world using the dishwasher, but Tim realizes that they've failed to close a diagnostic backdoor used by the senior field engineers to repair that E4 error. So he is able to diffuse the whole situation. Anyway, I don't want to give the whole plot away. It's a
My
three of them.
God,
But-
sounds like a 007 story.
Yeah, and what we did in the Tribune, by the way, was we decided to make that more of an art film. So
You made that film.
yes, that's right. So if
sounds
you
so
remember,
fantastic.
art films mean that you have to basically be in French. They have to have poor production values.
Jean.
Exactly. They have to have grainy black and white segments and, complete absence of any ending. You just end it when you want.
Is there any death or sex involved?
Yes, well, which is difficult with dishwashers. The way we reimagine it, we changed its title into French, so it became La Domination de Lave-Vaisselle.
My God.
And we took this to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2018. It debuted at the Fringe Festival. It was almost a big hit at the Fringe Festival. I think many people were interested in it. You see, the Tribune, we're in news and we're in media more generally, so that was our contribution to film media. But just to round off this threat to democracy that we feel is represented by dishwashers, because it brings us right up to date.
What's that?
This latest, the whole BLM.
What's that to do with BLM? What's BLM?
No, you're thinking it's bacon,
like-
lettuce, and mayonnaise. It's not that. I
Bacon.
know. The Chinese are always thinking about food, but no, this is the whole Black Lives Matter issue.
Oh,
And dishwashers,
Serious?
finally, people are waking up and realizing that the washing machines, as we put it, have their cycle set to violent because they're the last bastion of colour segregation in America. And we expose in our episode, they separate white washes and coloured washes.
oh my God.
We specifically call out the racist Whirlpool Fast Cycle QT350
My
Quiet Spring
God.
Deluxe, which has a wash for ultra white and a separate wash for perfect black.
This refer to clothes, not people.
Nevertheless, their day of reckoning is here because people are burning these machines and putting them in the streets
What?
until
the
they come
paper.
together, until whites and blacks come together in the same wash cycle, which is what we have always done in Sweden. And if you look at my clothes, you
That's
can,
why all your clothes are gray color because they're perfectly mixed.
on that note, please keep reading the Turunn Tribune. Keep supporting Scrottfrots. We will be highlighting many of their other innovative products as we move through this series. So for now, Jagen, everyone. Bjorn and Wei Hong. Until next time, Jagen Jagen.
Jagen, Jagen.